If you like having paramilitary border enforcement agents in your schools and churches, you're in luck. Trump unleashes the hounds. Elon Musk upstages Trump on his big day and makes history with 2 robust Nazi salutes, which begs the question, is Elon Musk a Nazi or a fool or both? Vivek Ramaswamy was fired by Elon Musk and his DOGE department for not being efficient enough to outperform Musk in the game of being a jackass. OpenAI wants to build a Stargate, or at least an AI slop chatbot called Stargate, and they have $500 billion to do it. And Donald Trump thinks church services shouldn't be so boring when confronted with basic humanity. This is the Difficult Opinions podcast. I'm your host, Alan, and welcome to episode 2. Okay, welcome back, listeners. We have a good show today. We'll get to Elon's awkward wave goodbye in just a bit. But first, the Trump administration revokes Biden's ICE detention guidelines for sensitive locations. The new policy allows ICE agents to detain undocumented people in schools and churches, which was formerly not allowed. Acting DHS Secretary and Demon in Training Benjamin Huffman cites law enforcement trust and public safety as reasons for the change in policy. It's good to know the Trump regime is all about public safety, especially on the day it released 1,600 January 6th convicts. The policy change aligns with the right-wing Project 2025 manifesto that's pushing for broader ICE powers. This policy is a return to principles from Trump's first term, which expresses hate for brown people. That's all it does. The change permits ICE to be present in, quote, sensitive areas. Sensitive areas is a perverse term for a church, school, kindergarten, mosque, or temple, basically any place where people should feel safe from harm from their government. We already knew that Trump would take this action. It was clear from the beginning that he would unleash immigration and customs enforcement agents into communities to actively search for undocumented people. So if you lead a church or manage a school, make sure to check all of your closets, under the beds, in the cabinets, and even behind the garden shed or in the bushes and trees on your property. Make sure there are no undocumented people there, because if there are, Trump will send the stormtroopers your way. Better yet, lock the doors and encircle the building with people, and don't let the bastards inside. If the government is going to come and take people away, arrest your neighbors and friends and colleagues. Make them take the people away. Don't hand them over willingly. Elon Musk's recent Nazi salute and hallucinations at Trump's inauguration has me wondering if the mainstream media is asleep or incompetent. Musk has tweeted Nazi crap for years. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of YouTube videos detailing Musk's years-long slide into the right wing. Independent journalism has documented in great detail his Nazi preferences. Some of his behavior is obvious, like the salutes and the memes he posts on Twitter, and some of it is subtle, like his population decline fantasies and the need for everyone to pump out more white children. Musk is so stupid that he's even doing the damn Nazi salute wrong. Who is he saluting? It's the point of a salute, to show another person some measure of respect, or in this case, hateful devotion. He even gets xenophobia wrong. As an aside, I'm also wondering about Musk's behavior and how this affects Tesla's $1.4 trillion market cap. Now, I couldn't care less about Tesla or its market cap, but the Tesla stock is how Musk fuels his wealth. Despite Trump canceling all the woke EV incentives, competition in the electric vehicle market is booming and sales at Tesla are slow. And I wonder about Tesla's future and if Musk might decide to cash out. He might be a paper billionaire, but he has a balance sheet with a mountain of liabilities in Section 2. Anyhow, the Nazi salute was on brand for Musk. It was just awkward enough for the troll armies of social media to claim he didn't mean it that way or it was simply a mistake. There are already Twitter post hoaxes featuring comparison photos of Elon, Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris waving to a crowd and got caught in one frame of the camera with their hand up. So this is what's happening with very online people. It's just another massive distraction, massive propaganda event, while Trump is sending ICE agents into kindergartens. I think Musk has an expiration date with Trump. Anyone sucking that much attention from him is doomed. Which brings us to the Department of Government Extremists, otherwise known as DOGE. Wait a minute, I think I got that wrong. Trump established the Department of Government Efficiency, granting Elon Musk's team extensive access to federal agencies. We've learned of a split between Musk and former co-leader Vivek Ramaswamy, who is leaving to run for governor of Ohio. The new DOGE team plans to, quote, leverage technology reform to improve government operations, and it has shifted from its original ambitious goal to cut trillions from the federal budget, first $2 trillion, then maybe $1 trillion, and now no trillions. And it has changed into an AI play for Musk's XAI company and its annoying chatbot, Grok. As an aside, the term Grok is at least 50 years old. It was coined as a computer science term for not just learning something, but being completely and fully transferred into the knowledge of something. So he also stole the term Grok like he stole Tesla and the failed Hyperloop. Well, he bought Tesla, but he isn't an engineer who designed the car. He's more like a drug-addicted Nazi. Anyhow, it only took 3 days to eject Vivek and reposition DOGE. I mentioned yesterday on the pod, DOGE will take over the U.S. Digital Service, allowing Musk's team to access to the federal IT infrastructure. I think the fact that Musk has access to all the sensitive government data is kind of a comedy of sadness. The U.S. is losing its legal mind. I think the lawsuits from this are going to be legend. It appears Ramaswamy's approach was more regulatory, while Musk favored a more technology-first strategy, which led to their split. I think the split was more about who would be the boss. A small government department can't be co-managed by those two gigantic egos. DOGE will have no financial impact on the government efficiency, but it will usher in more AI slop. At some point yesterday, Musk took time out from his Nazi saluting and hallucinations to remind us that he is a fraud when he was quoted by saying, "We're going to take DOGE to Mars," whatever the hell that means. In keeping with our Tech Bro AI theme today, I bring you the Stargate project. OpenAI has announced plans to invest $500 billion over the next 4 years for new AI infrastructure within the United States. The company has promised an immediate allocation of $100 billion to, quote, secure America's position as leader in AI technology while generating hundreds of thousands of jobs and fostering economic growth. I'll come back to that shortly. The big investors are OpenAI themselves, SoftBank, a Japanese investment company, Oracle, which is a U.S. database and business process outsourcing company, and MGX, the United Arab Emirates investment company. SoftBank will take the lead on financial oversight, and OpenAI is taking control of the operations. The project is set to start in Texas with a whole bunch of plans for nationwide rollout of new facilities. This collaboration among industry bigwigs aims not only to further improve the technological capabilities of AI slop, but also believes it will contribute to the national security of the U.S. and its allies, and intends to, quote, benefit all humanity. Right. Tell me how UAE and Japanese investment banks, together with 50% of Microsoft owning OpenAI, will contribute to U.S. national security. Has the U.S. been unsecure before ChatGPT? So we have the DOGE department transitioning into an AI tech startup for the federal government, run by OpenAI's direct competitor, that's XAI or Grok. However, OpenAI also donated huge amounts of money to Trump. They say the Stargate project plans to invest $500 billion in AI infrastructure over 4 years, with an initial deployment of $100 billion right now. Right, where to start? Several years ago, I worked for a huge international German company, and we began to focus on AI, specifically in data modeling, which primarily required data scientists. Hiring a data scientist with strong skills and a comprehensive understanding of state-of-the-art is practically impossible. And the people who fit this role generally fall into one of two categories. First, there are recent graduates, likely from an advanced degree program, typically holding a master's or a PhD. They usually specialize in specific areas of data science, such as natural language processing or big data modeling. The other type of person is an older, more traditional computer scientist who has been in the field for a long time and has integrated data modeling into their long-term business experience. Few of these people identify as fully experienced in data science tasks, let alone have advanced skills in large language models. While there are certainly many professionals available, potentially in the thousands, there are not hundreds of thousands available with the necessary experience. Of course, there are other jobs associated with supporting an AI build-out, such as traditional networking and computer support roles. Many applications are required to make the entire system operational. However, the notion of hundreds of thousands of jobs being created just doesn't add up. In my experience at a massive company with up to 10 to 15 subsidiaries, we had less than 200 truly key experts. I would estimate that even that number might be excessive. So the idea that OpenAI will employ hundreds of thousands of people seems far-fetched. But if you have 500 billion, well, you can do what you like to do. Lastly, we have a great story. Well, half of it's great. As part of the inauguration celebration this week, Donald Trump traveled to the National Cathedral for a religious service. He sat in the front row, and at the end of the service, he was directly addressed by the Episcopal minister, Marianne Budde, who was delivering comments during her sermon. She implored the president to take mercy on marginalized people, such as gay and transgender people, including children, people who lack the power or agency in society to protect themselves and their families from hate and aggression. Trump has already issued executive orders explaining that the policy of the United States of America is there are only two genders, and that all other self-identified genders will not be recognized by the federal government. Plus, any other gender identification other than male or female, man or woman, boy or girl will be stricken from federal government publications, forms, and official language. So you might imagine his surprise when someone is addressing him directly and he's unable to cut them off or respond. I'm going to play about a 2-minute clip of her comments. If you want to skip ahead to the end, that's perfectly fine, but I think it's worth listening to. She has a good speaking voice and makes an impassioned plea for sympathy. After the clip, I'm going to play Donald Trump's response, which, as you might imagine, was moronic.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger. for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
I think that was beautiful. She made her case perfectly well. All she was asking for was compassion and thoughtfulness. She wasn't trying to change his mind, his feelings, or any political stance he might have. She just asked for compassion. So as you might imagine, when asked about her comments by the press later in that afternoon, his response was ridiculous and moronic. Here's the clip. It's only about 30 seconds.
What do you think of the service?
What do you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service. No, they could do much better.
Not too exciting. That's how the President of the United States responded to a plea for compassion for marginalized people. It's only been 3 days since Trump has returned, and we've already seen Nazi salutes and wholesale change in the way the government approaches marginalized people. We've also seen a shift in how the government denies climate change, its allies, the world abroad, and its citizens. None of these changes are positive, and it's only been 3 days. That's all I can say today. I'll be back tomorrow with another short episode of Difficult Opinions. I want to thank you for making it this far through this episode. Your support means a lot to me. Please check out the website and the Discord server. They both are new and in need of some community love and building. Until next time, cheers.